Psychoanalytical Sessions, Day 1, Part 2. Now, I was just a third of the way to the gym and I'm ruminating about the ramifications of what I encountered in my psychological assessment, and they haven't even started on me. Didn't even get time to start on me. Fucking hell, people. Look, what she said when she needed time to think, and I posited to her that she was feeling insecure about it, which was an obvious, natural assessment in relation to a female. Because people, look, they all would have had seminars and instructions and training in what to look for in patients, because they are dealing with people with psychological issues and psychiatric issues. They are potentially dealing with lunatics. And so, of course, they have to be very insecure. They have to be very aware. And so, in this particular instance, there's no reason why she would feel insecure about me other than I made her feel insecure about herself. Because she instantly was aware that she was the one that was feeling vulnerable and being analysed. And she'd never encountered that before. So she'd never encountered that before, and she'd never encountered somebody wanting to record her and record every word she said for posterity, because she had to contemplate on the ramifications of that. And she's got to ask questions like, wow, what does that mean? Do I want my words recorded? What if I make a mistake? What if I make a wrong assessment? I could get sued, I could get sacked, I could get prosecuted. If I do the wrong evaluation and then something happens to this patient, and then it turns out that I didn't see or help him with his issues, then it's going to fall on me. So of course they're going to be insecure. This is why they don't want to be accountable. This is why they stand behind the proverbial bulletproof glass. They don't want to be scrutinised. They don't want minutes to be kept on any meeting. They just want to be in control and to write down shit, what they think about you, and assume that you're too stupid to contest anything they say. And you're never going to go, oh, this fucking shit you wrote about me is fucking wrong. As I've said, look, I have a friend, and she's been dealing with these people and these institutions, and she has come upon errors and assumptions and parts where the therapist evidently hasn't been listening, and so of course they make mistakes, and they are very aware that they make mistakes, and they want to hide their incompetence. But it's the 21st century, people. You know, it's 2025. In the year 2525, if man is still alive. Well, we're barely hanging on. But it's 2525. I remember listening to that song. It's from the 60s. I remember listening to that when I was in Vancouver, Canada. I was in a bedsit in a large wooden house, you know, like they have in Canada. And the weather was beautiful, it was sunny, and I spent 6 months there just fucking chilling out and enjoying myself, as I always do around the world. And the girl that was kind of like manager of the place, it was like a 9-bedroom house, it was huge. One of these where you walk up big wooden stairs and it's got all shutters on the doors and everything. So she gave me this big fuck off radio. She says, oh, I've got this radio. Somebody left it, and you know, I've already got a radio, so do you want it? And like, yeah, it was fucking good. And so the first record I heard on that was in the year 2525. Anyway, I'm digressing. So this psychologist she had to ask herself how comfortable she is having everything she says in a consultation copied, recorded for posterity, potentially forever. So that is something that we all need to think about. But you know, people like me, I've got my whole life on videos for posterity. I don't care. I'm not insecure. Anybody can say anything. Anybody can make any assumptions. Anybody can write or record what the fuck I want about me, because I'm too big to be bothered about that. I'm always telling you guys, I'm the cosmos, and I absolutely believe it. And so even if you think, oh, you're not the cosmos, you're just little Aaron Berry. Well, if I fucking believe it, then that's my world, isn't it? But you see, I know I'm the cosmos for many, many reasons, many experiences. Because I'm an enlightened being, people. So, she has to contemplate what she's going to do about that. And does she want to be subject to prosecution or embarrassment and professional ridicule and a whole fucking bunch of stuff? Of course she's got to think about it. And so she's got to make that consideration. And then she's got to ask the ramifications of the law. She's got to speak to people in there, and she's got to say, well, there wasn't any law that she was aware of. And I said to her, well, look, in view that there isn't any law, there isn't even any stipulation that people can't, because nobody's fucking ever done it before, evidently. It's always the case with me. I'm always the first to do every fucking thing. All through my life. Whenever I've been dealing with the government or fucking courts or anything, it's always been like, I'm the fucking first person ever to present them with these issues. So, that's probably why I came to this dimension, to cause a revolution, people. So, she's going to have to consult with the hierarchical system. She's going to have to phone head office or write head office, and she's going to have to tell them that she was presented with this issue today. And what is she supposed to do about it? Does she have a right to say no to the patient when the patient must have a right? We must have a right. It's our data protection, and whatever we're saying, we must have the right to record it. And you know, if it hasn't been established in a court of law or before a board of panels assessing this thing on very, very rational, feasible, respectful grounds, then they can't deny it. You see, they can't invent the law. They can't just say, oh no, we can't do that. We're not doing that as an institution. Because what they will be doing then, they will be setting a precedent for the whole country. And so I would say to them then, well, if you're going to be telling me that you can't do it, you are setting a precedent for the whole country, well, I'm going to contest that in court, and it's going to be a very big deal. And I'll go to the newspapers and tell them that as well. Psychologist, psychiatrist, National Health Service denies patients to record their own psychotherapy. Really? Why did you do that? It was because of the insecurity of a very naive and silly little girl. So you changed the whole fucking rules, or you created rules because one scared little girl? Really? Is that how this fucking National Health Service works? I don't think so. I don't think so, people. So, she's going to have to reckon with that. And if it turns out, if the institutions say, well, it's a grey area, we don't know, there's no law, and so with data protection, they do have the right to do that. It's the first time, it probably won't happen again in another fucking 50 years. It's never happened before in the history of the National Health Service. So we've got no criteria on it, we don't know what to do with it. But because of that, then we have to allow him to do it. And then she's got to make the decision whether she wants to partake in that, whether she feels secure enough about that. And if she doesn't feel secure enough about that, then she's going to have to say, well, I don't feel secure about this, and so I will ask for the institution to allocate Mr. Berry to someone who does feel more secure. So then the institution is going to go, hang on, you're a fucking psychologist and you're riddled with insecurities which are affecting your job. You're not even fucking up for the fucking position that you're supposed to have. You've got to deal with your own fucking shit before you go trying to deal with other people's. Fucking hell, can you believe it? This is big, people. This is big. It really is. A psychologist who doesn't know how to address her own insecurities on an issue. That's why she said she's gonna need some time. And, you know, the inference was it wasn't gonna be fucking 10 minutes or over lunch. It was gonna be fucking days, weeks or months to get her head around that motherfucker. So, you know what I always do, people? I always open the can of worms. I wrote a 12-page letter to the government calling them Nazis, among other things, because they told me that I didn't have conditions. And so I said, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I'm going to take you to the tribunal and I'm going to prove that I have a fucking long history of the conditions that I've been telling you about for a long time, but you've never accepted them. You've never abated your manipulation and your bullying and your denial of my physical and mental conditions. So, after reading my 12-page fucking letter, they conceded and they backtracked and they were complicit with my requests. And so they acquiesced to my request. And so what I'm always saying to you people, I'm always trying to empower you. And someone says, one of the viewers, about, if they allow you to record. And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking tell them. You know, fucking hell, people, how many times have I told you? You're God. We're all God if we only realise that. If we only have the strength to believe that. If you believe, then you will move mountains. And so when you watch what's going on here, if by any chance they have the balls or the stupidity to tell me that they are not allowing me to record, then I will send them a letter telling them that I'm consulting a solicitor. I will consult a solicitor and I will get the solicitor to write to them and tell them that we need to address this in court. Because unless they can come up with law which is written, which they are working under, then they are inventing the law. You see? So this is new ground, people. This is new territory. Unless they come up with some obscure fucking rule, regulation, criteria bullshit in their archives, which they implanted fucking years ago to protect themselves. But the chances are they didn't, because the psychiatrist was shocked when I was wanting to record, and so was the psychologist. They're not used to it, people. They get very intimidated. And the thing is, you see, they're individuals. They work for the bureaucrats. They're in positions working for the machine, but they're individuals. And when it comes down to them being scrutinised, all of a sudden they're insecure because they are out on their own. They don't have the bureaucrats and the institution to hide behind. No, it's you and them on a face-off, and they're not up for it, people. They're not up for it. And so we can see where the world's going, people. We're going to have AI do all these consultations. And AI, I think, not too much of the future, are going to be more competent than any of these 2-bit fucking teenagers that are supposed to be assessing the mind of the human being. You get a fucking teenager to assess the fucking consciousness of a human being. What audacity. You know, it just shows the level of respect they're giving to consciousness and the issues that brains have and minds have. They're giving it no respect at all. Why? Because they haven't got a fucking clue what's going on, and so all they want to do is just write a fucking prescription, take these pills, and 99% of the idiots just fucking go along with that. And then 1 in a million you get someone like me, which is going to throw a spanner in the works of the whole system. And so it's stimulating, you see. You know, I've got a friend of mine who's ADHD. Oh, I've got fucking seemingly loads of friends. Anyone that I fucking know seems to have ADHD, OCD, fucking depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, or fucking hell. Isn't that the human race? Isn't that the human race, people? But this particular friend, ADHD, and what I'm exhibiting here is one of his traits. One of his traits is he really fucking gets his teeth into everything he comes upon, and he's always phoning me up with issues that he's got about the council, about the police, about his landlord, about his staff, all this stuff. What would you do here? What would you do there? Because he fucking gets involved in it, and that's what I do. Because we need more stimulation. You would have gathered by now that I need an enormous amount of stimulation. I need to be reading and listening to the world's geniuses. Anything else just won't fucking cut it with me. And so I am feverish for information, and I've been feverish to extract any of you guys that can hold a fucking conversation along the lines that I do. But invariably, there is very, very few people that can do that. I had one last night, which is a regular, Andre. He's a fucking Viking. He's a mountain of a man. He's a Scandinavian. He's a real fucking man. And so, he educates himself with psychology and philosophy and fucking all the rest of it. And, works out, puts his body under duress and all different sorts of stuff. A real man. And I said to him, why do you think that people don't come forward? And he went, oh, they're insecure, aren't they? Of course they're insecure. Because they don't want to reveal anything about themselves. Because if they reveal anything about themselves, then they are going to feel vulnerable. Oh, I've just said this, and it could potentially go out around the whole world forever and ever and ever, and they're going to know all these things about me. Well, if he was a real fucking man, it wouldn't matter, would it? That's what I say. If you're a real man, if you're a real fucking woman, look, I can understand it with women, because they are the weaker sex and they have a natural propensity towards feeling vulnerable. I get it with women. I'm not buying it with men, even though most men these days are more vulnerable fucking most of women. And so anyway, tonight I'm having a conversation which I think is going to be exceedingly interesting. It's a new viewer, and he's bought the book, he's reading the book, and he's loving the videos, and he wants to come and chat, and I'm very interested to listen to his story. You see, that's what I want to do. I want to listen to your stories. You know my story, those of you that have been around a long time, and I'm tired of talking about my fucking story. If you want my story, read it in the fucking book. But I want to listen to your story, and I want to talk about new stuff. Like I'm talking about this fucking psychotherapy thing now. It's going to be a very interesting road I'm going to be travelling, and I've got a little idea of where it's going to go. Because like I say, they could say that they don't feel comfortable about that, and then in that case, then well, they're writing the law, then, aren't they? They're in no position to do that, and they would absolutely have to back down with their tail between their legs. What other option have they got? I don't think they've got any other options. They've got to concede. And what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to find a man enough to do it. And so, you see, what's actually happened, people, is perfect. Because I'm telling these people what I want, and I'm always going to get what I want. I don't settle for anything less than what I want. I told them in the forms they send out that I am requesting a Jungian psychologist, someone who knows about existentialism, about supernatural experiences, metaphysically, spiritually waking up. I need someone who knows about that, because I have had a spiritual awakening, enlightening crisis, and I'm still dealing with the fucking the shell shock and the ramifications of that. It's changed me from who I was, and so don't be sending me a fucking a first aider with a packet of fucking plasters. No, you're going to need a proper surgeon if you're going to be fucking, being any use to me. So, yes, you see, everywhere I go, I'm interesting for all parties because I present people with stuff that they've never thought about. And whenever I'm talking to people in the gym, invariably they're just like, and I say, I start talking about somebody, this, that, and the other. I said, this person, fuck me. He's so prolific on YouTube. He's got, I think I do. No, if you knew, you would say you fucking knew. But you don't want to say you don't know. You don't want to reveal your ignorance. But everything I say to this fucking particular guy, the cycling guy, he don't know nothing about anything. And I'm like, where you fucking been all your life? What the fuck do you do with your life? What the fuck do you do every day with your life? You're fucking retards. People, the joy of being a human being. The joy of being a human being. It's incredible. And I think, to be fair, my only defence mechanism to prevent myself from hating every single second on this fucking planet is the fact that I have found an interest in the silly pink ape, and now they are my project. And when I get bored of examining them, then I can just walk out into the beautiful natural world, which is splendid, glorious, and I don't have a single issue, never had a single issue with all of the creatures, with all of the fucking weathers, with all of everything about the world. The world is perfect. It's absolutely genius and it's beautiful. But as far as I'm concerned, the pink ape is a mutation. It doesn't belong here. It kind of like must be a prison planet, and you fucked up souls have been sent here for a sentence, and the sentence isn't to suffer the natural world, because the natural world is a godsend. The sentence is that you got to mix with those other fucking pink apes. That's your sentence, motherfucker. And every single day of your life, you're going to be grimacing. You're going to be riddled with fucking anxieties, fears, fucking hates, and all the rest of it. And then all your desires, because some people have got more than what you've got, and jealousies, and oh goodness me, the joy of being a human being, right? The fucking joy, the joy. Yeah. There was a little excerpt in that epic movie with Marlon Brando about Vietnam. What was it called? Apocalypse Now, where this fucking sergeant or fucking sergeant major, whatever the fuck he was, Charlie Sheen, he had to go up the jungle in a boat to find a renegade colonel. The colonel just gone fucking AWOL. He's gone, fuck it, I ain't coming back. And so this sergeant was sent up to kill him. And the colonel, Marlon Brando, knew that this sergeant had come to kill him. And so in the last scene where Charlie Sheen cuts his head off with a fucking sword, you don't exactly see that, but he's got a fucking machete, and Marlon Brando is bending down, revealing his neck and his head, and he knows his fate and he's wanting his fate. And the last few words he said was, a horror, a horror. And those words he quoted from a certain book of a novelist or a philosopher or something like that, something very, very well renowned. And I don't know what that book or novel was from, what it was called. But yeah, some people consider it to be a horror. But on my deathbed, I'm going to go, the joy, the joy. And I'm going to laugh at all of the fucked up shit that I've encountered in my life. And all the fucking hideous drones. Oh my god, they're fucking everywhere. Anyway, just about to go in and keeping it real, people. So, catch these guys later.